Hi, welcome to adding and subtracting linear expressions. So in the past we have simplified algebraic expressions. So now we're going to talk about adding and subtracting linear expressions. A linear expression is just an algebraic expression where the variable is to the first power. So x is the first power, b, c, those are all to the first power. We don't typically write x to the 1th power. We usually see it as this, but that is to the first power. So a linear expression is anything like that, or 3x plus 4, but just for x or a plus 14, those are all linear expressions because the variable is to the first power. Okay, so we are going to add and subtract those kinds of expressions. And there's two ways to go about doing this. One is and I've been telling you over and over again that I want you to do problems vertically. Well, you can actually add them linearly or vertically. So linearly is kind of the way that we've been doing it. So if I have x minus 2, and I'm going to add to that 3x plus 8. And we did a little bit of this yesterday when we did the activity with algebra tiles. So we have an x minus 2 plus a 3x plus 8. And they're kind of in the same form. There's a variable, and then you're subtracting or adding a constant. So if we did this linearly, which means that we're thinking of the problem in this direction, we would say x, we're going to add the opposite, so we're going to find the subtraction and change it to adding the opposite, plus 3x plus 8. And we can rewrite this so that we can put the variables together, the like terms, and the constants together. So x plus 3x is equal to 4x, and negative 2 plus 8 is equal to 6. So that is 4x plus 6. Okay. So actually, even though we're going up and down like this, we're thinking of this in sort of linear terms because we're thinking of the linear expression as going this way. Now we can also do this vertically. We can take these two things and we can treat them as x subtract 2. We're going to add 3x plus 8. And we're going to put them in a problem like this, which is kind of how you think of adding and subtracting multi-digit numbers. So we're going to think of this with variables. So we have x and 3x, and we're adding them. So that would be 4x. And we can think of this as adding a negative 2. So we have negative 2 plus 8, which is 6. And see how that's vertically. This looks like more work, but it's the way that we've been talking about expressions. This looks like a whole lot less work because you set it up this way. But the only way that this works is if you have two linear expressions. So that is two different ways to do this. Okay, so now why don't we do another example. Oops, I don't really want to do that. I want to just delete this part. So let's think of another example. So if I have negative 4y plus 3, take that part and we're going to add it to 11y minus 5. No, minus 5. Okay, if we do this linearly, it's negative 4y plus 3 plus 11y plus a negative 5. I'm going to gather like terms, 4y plus 11y, and going to gather the constants, plus 3 plus a negative 5. Negative 4 plus 11, negative 4y plus 11y is 7y plus 5 plus a negative 2. 5 plus a negative 3 plus a negative 5 is negative 2. So 7y minus 2. Okay, let's do this linearly. Negative 4y plus 3, add 11y, subtract 5. I'm going to add those two together. Okay, negative 4y plus 11y is 7y, and 3 plus a negative 5 is negative 2. So 7y minus 2. You can do it either way. As long as you get the correct answer, you can do it this way, thinking of it linearly, or you can do it this way, thinking of it vertically. All right, let's try some on your own. So let's try these. X plus 3 plus 2x minus 1 and 8z plus 4 plus 8z subtract 7 and 4 subtract n plus 2 times negative 5n plus 3. All right, let's try these. We'll do them in two different ways. So this way we're going to say x plus 3 plus 2x plus a negative 1. Rewrite them with adding the opposites. We're going to gather like terms. So here we've got an x, and we have a 2x, we have a 3, and we have a negative 1. X plus 2x is 3x. 3 plus a negative 1 is 2. So that is 3x plus 2. This way I'm going to do it vertically. I have negative 8z plus 4 and 8z plus a negative 7. I'm just going to rewrite that as addition. So negative 8 plus 8, well, that's 0. And 4 plus a negative 7 is negative 3. So your answer is negative 3. This one we have to distribute first. So we're going to get 4, subtract n, plus a negative 10, because we're distributing this onto both of those. Negative 10n plus 6. If we, let's add these vertically. We're going to actually have to kind of swap these around a little bit. Because we have negative 4, we have 4 subtract a negative n. We want to, since these are both, this is an addition problem, it's commutative, we want to put the 6 and line it up with the 4, and then add a negative 10, n. So 4 plus 6 is 10. Negative n plus negative 10n is negative 11n. So that would be 10, subtract a negative 11n. And that's how you would do those three. All right, let's now think about subtraction. How are we going to subtract two linear expressions? All right, well, let's start with an example. 5x plus 6 subtract negative x plus 6. All right, let's think of this vertically. So 5x plus 6, and we're going to subtract a negative x plus 6. All right, this negative goes with this entire operation. So remember how we've been doing the distributive property with the negative? It applies to each of the terms inside of those parentheses. See how that's a negative here? So think of that as plus and negative like that if you want. So that negative gets distributed. So we have 5x plus 6. We're going to add its opposite. So negative x times a negative is x, and negative times a positive 6 is a negative 6. So now if I add them, I get 5x plus x, and that gives me 6x, and 6 plus a negative 6 is 0. So my answer is 6x. We can also think about this linearly, which is kind of the way I like to think about it when it's a subtraction problem. So if I have 5x plus 6, and I am subtracting a negative x plus 6. And for the past few days, I've really been adding this distributive property with the negative sign in front of it. So just like we distributed that negative in this part of the expression, we're going to do the same thing. This negative gets applied here, and it gets applied here. So we have 5x plus 6 plus negative times negative x is x. Negative times 6 is a negative 6. Well, let's find our like terms. So 5x and x are a like term, and 6 and negative 6 are a like term. So 5x plus x is 6x. 6 plus negative 6 is 0. So we still get 6x. Again, it doesn't matter how you decide to do these, you just have to be sure that this negative sign applies to everything inside of the parentheses, whether you do it this way and change it at that stage, or if you distribute it here. Okay, let's try some examples on your own. We're going to say m, subtract 3, subtract, and negative m plus 12. Well, let's do it linearly. So m minus 3. I'm going to distribute this negative sign onto everything inside of the parentheses. So negative times a negative m is a positive m. Negative times a 12 is a negative 12. So let's gather our like terms. We're going to actually change this to add the opposite. And we're going to gather our like terms, or at least identify them. And now we're going to gather them. M plus m is 2m. Negative 3 plus negative 12 is negative 15. Remember, we like to write this as 2m. Subtract 15. So that's how you would do that. All right, here's another one to try on your own. I hope you guys are pausing me after I write it down. I keep forgetting to tell you guys to pause it. So 2 times c plus 12, subtract 5, c plus 4. Okay, pause me and try this on your own. Okay, welcome back. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to rewrite this as an addition problem. So minus 2 times c plus 2 plus negative 5 times c plus 4. So negative 2 times, so we're going to distribute the 2. So negative 2c plus a negative 4. Add negative 5 times c is negative 5c. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. So let's identify like terms. Negative 2c, negative 5c, negative 4 is a constant, and negative 20 is a constant. So when I add up the variable with c, I get negative 2 plus a negative 5 gives me negative 7c. Negative 4 plus negative 20 gives me negative 24. And that's how you do this. Well, good luck with the homework.